Hey y'all, it's that time of the week again. It's Midweek Mini time. I'm Mitch Lawrence, and that's my wife Leah Lawrence.
Hey y'all.
And this show's going to be different yet again. Because what are we doing this time, Leah? We're bringing a Disney Plus exclusive. Aren't we?
We're just talking about the shit we've been watching during quarantine.
Yeah.
Because,
we're not quarantined.
Well, no. During... it's not safer at home. It's... I don't remember what...
I believe it's phase 1.
No, but they had different... they had different names for each phase, and they were all stupid. I don't remember. Anyway. Yeah,
anyway,
we're still at home though. So, well, Mitch isn't. Mitch has never
been working round the clock. I had 2 weeks that I was home because we thought you had it.
Yeah.
But
Mitch has been going to work physically the whole time. Yeah. I, on the other hand, have left the house like I could count it on my hands in the last couple months. So
what we did was yesterday watch the entirety of a documentary series on Disney Plus that Leah saw, and she was like, I would like to watch this. I was like, okay. And then I kind of liked it quite a bit.
Yeah.
So why don't you take it from here, Leah? Tell them what it was.
It's called Prop Culture, and it is just about this. I think he's a giant. I'm not sure.
He's a Hagrid.
He is one of the tallest, largest men I've ever seen. Just he's big guy. And he collects movie props, and he works for Disney in some capacity, I'm sure, or they would not have, given him a show like that. But he takes, they take different movies, and they, talk to cast and crew, and they go through the Disney archives, and they pull out different props and, reunite some of the props with the actors that, wore the costumes or used the prop or whatever. I don't know. It was really cool, interesting. As someone who, went to school to learn to fabricate that kind of thing.
Let me just say real quick, his name is Dan Lanigan.
Okay, Dan Lanigan. He's giant. He's just so freaking tall. It's weird. And he just makes everybody else look tiny. And then there's one, they do the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I wasn't fully watching, and then one of the actors who's a little person that played one of the dwarves, I'm not sure what that character is because I don't really like Narnia, but
I also never saw or read those, and I've
read them all, and it's not something that stuck with me as a kid. I enjoyed them. I had all the box set, but it wasn't a thing that I was obsessed with, which is weird because I was obsessed about a lot of things. But like I said, he was one of the evil troll elfy kind of things. I'm not sure what that was, but just that guy juxtaposed the little person, the actor, and then the guy that collects just giant man. It's crazy. But anyway, it was a really good show. I highly recommend it if you're interested in that kind of thing. Just some of the craftsmanship that goes into those things just blows me away every single time. Just people care so much about the little pieces of the production that they're doing, regardless of whether you can see some of the details on film or not. It's just absolutely stunning. And with film work, there's enough money in it and enough time generally that you can really have good quality artisan pieces. It's not like the community theater and the college theater budget bullshit that I'm used to. You know what I mean? You actually get to take the time and be meticulous about a project, and it's so nice.
It's 8 episodes, and like I said, we watched them all in one day. Yeah. So it's enthralling if you're into any of this stuff. So we can just talk about each episode. There's 8 episodes. Mary Poppins is the first one.
See, and I'm terrified of that movie. I've explained it before. I've always been freaked out. I don't like when they go into the chalk drawings. Yeah. When I was a kid, 2 movies freaked me out, and it was that one and Bedknobs and Broomsticks. which are, I think, written, and I think the people that wrote the music, the Bedknobs and Broomsticks, is basically just the reject songs that didn't make it into Mary Poppins. So like I said, I, for whatever reason, have a strongly adverse reaction to that particular movie, and I don't like it. I don't like Bedknobs and Broomsticks, and just the whole thing. So I was a little uncomfortable, but it was a really nice to see the different designers and the choreographer, especially. She was a really cool person, just bringing out some of the different pieces and stuff that they still have in the Disney archive, or that the individual cast members kept. And I mean, while I don't particularly enjoy the movie, it was a neat thing. I enjoyed it.
Episode 2 was Tron. That one was interesting. I really enjoyed it.
Tron was
personally. Well, I mean, I've never seen the movie.
Yeah, so. I have. It is what they did with the technology that they possessed at the time was absolutely groundbreaking. It's not a movie I would recommend you watch unless you're interested in film history and the technology behind it and what they actually went through to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think it is a good movie objectively. The story is stupid. The effects, I mean, once again, but it's something, they were making something that looked computer animated without the benefit of having computers to animate it, you know? Yeah. It was all doing computer animation, but with rotoscoping and like animation techniques, and it's a really cool, neat, just a relic of the time period. But I don't think it's something that you would like actually enjoy unless you were a nerd about like craftsmanship, like I am.
Watch it for the props. That's what I heard you say.
No, even they are kind of iffy, but you know.
Well, episode number 3 was The Nightmare Before Christmas, and that was really interesting because like Leah was saying, this Dan guy goes around and talks to like everyone involved in the film that he could find, and they all had like one of the figurines pretty much. They all kept one or kept a few of them, or, you know, they have archives, and they found so many of the old Jack Skellingtons. They had the Santa one, and they said that the main thing I took away from that was that the hands and the Santa hat were made out of the same material, and if left unattended, they would just like disintegrate or melt or something. And just from sitting there, whatever it was that they were.
Yeah, it was probably some variety of plasticine, but those puppets are meant to be used and destroyed. They're temporary things. They're meant to be, you know, that they are made for the run of the production. There are hundreds of individual characters made for different scenes and situations. The faces change out for different scenes, so you can do the lip flaps and all of that stuff. And it's the most tedious thing that you have ever seen in your life. Like, because I have never been to a studio that did stop motion, but when I was working for the Jim Henson Company, there was a woman there that had just gotten a job at Leica, and she was about to leave Henson to join Leica, and Leica is the studio that did Coraline and, you know, that kind of stuff.
They do a lot of stop motion.
Yeah, she was moving out there to work for Leica, and she showed me some of the stuff that she made, because stop motion was her passion. It was something that she was really interested in, and just the minuscule, minute detail and the sculpting, and it is absolutely stunning and just time consuming as all fuck. Like, I
don't have the patience to do something like that.
It's absolutely stunning, and I love that type of animation just because, you know, I grew up on the Rankin and Bass Christmas stuff, you know, everybody did, and I liked that kind of thing. I found it endearing and not creepy, which I know a lot of people find it just super creepy, but you know, to me, I enjoy claymation, and I love Leica Studios and stuff like that, but it's a very difficult job, and from what I've been told, the pay is not awesome, so don't sign me up for that.
Really? You'd think with that level of mastery that you would get paid very well for doing stuff like that.
I mean, I'm sure it depends on what level of artist you are and that kind of thing. But I was told that because when I was applying for internships, I had sort of a pick of which internships I wanted to apply for. And I had thought about that one. And just from things that I read online, I decided not to apply.
Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah, but I love their work. It's absolutely stunning. And I just, the whole thing around that. They even had the spiral hilltops. They had saved a couple of those. And those were really neat. And then they had like one of the original Jack Skellington maquettes, like that they had set up in front of it. I don't know. It was just really neat to see props coming back together. Yeah. However many years after it had been made. I don't even remember what year was Nightmare made.
See, that's what surprised me because they said it was 91.
Okay.
And I was like, no fucking way. I could have sworn it was like 95 or something.
I never remembered it coming out, and I honestly never saw The Nightmare Before Christmas until I was a freshman in college.
Oh, goodness. Because it was evil?
No, just because that's not something that my parents... I mean, we didn't sit down and watch anything like that together. It strikes me as something my mom would have hated, and my dad could have gone either way on. He likes weird shit, but I don't know if that would have been his style of weird shit. So, like I said, it was just, I knew who the characters were, but I never actually sat down and watched it until me and my roommate freshman year in college around Halloween was like, yeah, we're out of DVDs to watch. Let's watch this. So...
Well...
and we watched the entire run of Mork and Mindy that year.
Oh, God. Oh, why?
Because she had the whole thing on box set.
Jesus. Oh, what a waste of time.
Yes.
Well, in all actuality, Mork and Mindy was a gigantic show when it was on.
Yeah, and I had never seen it or heard of it,
last,
and she loved it. So
it's one of those that just kind of faded after it was done.
Mm-hmm.
But... Well, episode 4 of Prop Culture was Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. There wasn't too much that I was really interested in. The only thing I really remembered was that they kept the mast on the island where they shot the movie. Mm-hmm. A restaurant just kept the mast and placed it in cement because people were trying to steal it.
Yeah. It's a neat piece to have. It's a cool thing that they left it in the place that, which, what are you going to do? Ship it back to California? Like, that's a really big piece for something like that. But, I don't know. I think it's neat. And there's a guy that does a lot of, sword smithing in Hollywood. There's apparently this one guy that does all of that shit. Like, if you need a legit sword made, he's the guy. And just hearing interviews with him is really cool because I've always liked watching like metal smiths of any sort, glass blowers, anybody that is confident around like a flaming death hole, like
we did just have Mexican.
Gross. Because I love watching like glass blowers and all of that stuff, and I've always wanted to try it, but I also know that I burn myself on a 350 degree oven on a regular basis.
Yeah, me too.
Probably a bad choice for someone as clumsy as me, but I like to watch it,
You do like to watch.
And the one thing that he kept saying that annoyed me was that he had a screen used sword that Jack Sparrow used in the movie, and he was just like, yeah, it's got Johnny Depp's DNA on it.
Yeah,
he
said that. He said that way too many times. Way too many times.
I understand that technically he's correct, but ew.
No, he made it sound like
you jizzed on it.
Yeah, like he jerked off onto the sword.
And maybe he did. I don't know. Not judging, but gross.
Yeah. I've heard Johnny Depp's a little freaky. I don't know.
Oh.
Episode number 5 was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That one was real cool.
Oh, it was so good.
Because he talked to Rick Moranis for a large portion of that episode.
Yeah, they talked to Rick Moranis, and they also got some of the kids together that were in it, and that was really cool. And they sort of brought in a piece of the armature of the big ant puppet that they rode through it, and it was so cool.
It was. I enjoyed that one.
But I loved that movie as a kid, so.
Yeah, you did. You're a fucking weirdo. The biggest thing, though, for them was that they had the baseball. Wasn't that it?
Well, they actually had the shrink ray, and they
had that.
They did a restoration on that during the show. But yeah, the guy that directed it or made the props. I don't remember who he was, but he had the baseball that hit that was hit through the window that set off the shrink ray. Yeah, it was neat.
Right,
and the whole cast had signed it. It was cool.
Yeah, and this was the one that Leah was talking about earlier. Episode 6 was The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
I liked that one a lot because they got 3 of the kids that were originally in it to see their old costumes, and that was adorable.
It was. Some of them got kind of emotional about it.
Yeah, it was really cute.
But there was a lot of sword talk in this one too, because they used real swords in that movie.
Yeah, they talked to that same guy that had forged swords for the other one, so he was back in it. And then they also talked to the guy that is the founder of the Weta Workshop in New Zealand. And if you don't know who that is, they're the people who made all of the shit for the Lord of the Rings movies. Like, Weta is absolutely just like...
Go ahead.
It sets my nerd hearts aflutter. You know what I mean?
I don't.
Their craftsmen are just insanely good. Like... insanely good.
They are. And the props in that one were real good too in that episode. I mean, everything, all of these are good.
Yeah. I mean, Disney doesn't pay for shit.
Yeah. Like I was saying though,
they have the money to back up the best, and they pay for it. So
like I was saying though, I never saw this movie, so this one didn't really appeal to me that much. But I mean, I still enjoyed it, You
never watched The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe?
No.
Oh, okay.
Didn't care to. Wasn't into it. 2 more episodes, and probably the best 2 of the whole thing. Number 7 was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. That one was fun.
That one was really fun.
Yeah.
They did. They got it. They brought in the woman who was the voice actress for Jessica Rabbit,
Cataline Turner.
Oh my God, so good, so good.
Yeah, she talked for a while about. What was fun about that one was there weren't a whole lot of just actual physical props. They talked about how they used a hose, for like a water spitting scene, because they just put the cartoons over the actual live footage, right? So they were just showing how they had stand-ins basically, and they would just put the cartoons over it, and they were focusing on the stand-ins mostly, but it was still really fun.
Yeah, and they also had the guy that voiced Roger Rabbit did a whole interview with him, and that was really cool.
Yeah, he did. That's right.
He seems like he is insane, but good insane, not bad insane, if that makes sense.
It doesn't. He's insane.
Very just hyperactive. Like he's like how you see some of the old interviews of Robin Williams. He's that style of frenetic energy that just never stops. No. It's a really neat interview.
Mork for the older audience. That's who she's talking about. And the best episode, the most exciting one, because honestly, we didn't know which movies they were doing until we watched the episode. So this was a surprise, and Leah creamed herself.
That is disgusting, and I'm going to need you to take that out.
Number 8 was the Muppet movie.
Ew.
And Leah was so excited.
Yeah, I was.
And it was really, really, really good, though. Really good. Go ahead, talk about it.
I just love that movie. Is it a good movie? I don't even know. But is it just everything that I love about puppeteering and Muppets in general? Yeah. Also, yes. It just... how can you not love Rainbow Connection and just moving right along? Like, the songs in that fucking movie are just so good, and I've been obsessed with the puppets. I've been obsessed with the people. I've been obsessed with just about everything about that movie, that company, just the detail that they put into some of these things. They brought out from the Henson archives one of the original banjo that Kermit's playing in the first scene of that movie. And I just want it real bad. I mean, obviously, everybody that's a fan would like die to have something like that. But I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. The detail work is so good. And I mean, it even has details on it that like you will never see on screen. But one of the craftspeople just decided to go for it. You know what I mean? That's the kind of details that I love in stuff like this, because you may never see it on screen, but the artist that made it knows about it, and it's just, I like it.
I am a fan.
I am for it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just because I have been able to hold some of those puppets, and some, I don't know that I've ever. Yeah, none of the puppets that I've actually handled were in that movie, because most of that stuff was already in museum displays and stuff like that at the time, you know, that I was working at the Henson shop in college. And so I don't think I've actually had anything from that movie specifically. What I've played with is stuff from Muppet Christmas Carol, Muppet Treasure Island, that kind of thing. But I have met a lot of the people that were in that movie, you know, voicing characters and stuff like that. And
that's
just,
cool.
Oh my gosh, the people are so good. It's just good. And maybe you hate it, I don't know, but
I'll tell you what, I don't know.
So hard.
I don't know that I've ever seen the actual Muppet movie. I do, as we've talked about on the show before, I am now a gigantic fan of Muppet Christmas Carol. That movie was fucking awesome, but I've never seen the Muppet movie, I don't think.
The Muppet movie is really fun because it has a lot of cameos from a bunch of different famous people, you know? Like, they just come in, like, Mel Brooks is in it.
Yeah.
I mean, just little celebrity things here and there. What's his bucket? Steve Martin's in it. You know, just like little comedic cameos, kind of people that were on the Muppet Show. You know,
in pop culture, they had the what's the name of that? It's the Studebaker. Fonzie Bear's Studebaker.
Yeah.
Right. And that was really cool to see.
Yeah.
I mean, all the paint's going off of it, but like they still have the car, and they showed how they actually did the work with someone sitting in the back. There's a steering wheel in the back, and they're looking out of a hole in the front of the car to drive it.
Yeah.
That's fucking terrible.
They're looking at a screen that has a camera from the 70s. Actually, I think that's probably
there
the
was
80s.
A hole in the front. They said they're looking out of this hole to drive it.
Yeah, they had a camera in the hole. There were two people laying down in front of that. It was a camera. He had a monitor driving
in the hole.
The
right,
monitor.
because they had to puppeteer.
Because Jim Henson and Frank Oz were like laying down with their arms up in the floorboards in the front.
Yeah. Yeah. And what a terrible fucking idea. Just a really bad idea.
Look, it worked, okay?
It did. It fucking worked.
Yeah, was it the safest?
Well, if y'all have a Disney Plus subscription, go watch Prop Culture. If you don't have a Disney Plus subscription, get one. Go watch Prop Culture. It's really interesting. It's super interesting.
And, you know, I'm just that nerd about it, so maybe it's not interesting to other people, but if anybody else wants to talk about it, let me know, because I'll always talk about it.
Yep. And we're going to have so many more fun documentaries to talk about. Next week, Free Solo.
We are not
watching. We will see y'all next time.
Bye, y'all.